So here's our summary. We're going to talk about this episode. We've got some news about the future of The Walking Dead, Rick Grimes, and more. We got an episode rundown of episode 5. We're going to speculate about what's to come because there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to cover this episode and what's to come. So oh my gosh, a whole new show.
So excited.
Yeah. And Quinn, in 3 words or less, rate the episode. What did you think? Just as a little teaser.
Grown man Judith.
Grown man Judith. What's up, guys? This is The Broken Dead, and thanks for tuning in. My name is Dylan.
I'm Quinn.
What's up with the mask?
Well,
is that for later?
It's for later.
Okay.
If you follow me on Twitter or Instagram or happen to even be friends with me on Facebook, you'll know what this will mean later. Until then, though.
Bum, bum, bum. All right, so back to the show. Thanks for watching if you're tuning in on YouTube or Facebook or wherever else I've found to dump this video. Or if you're listening to the audio, I'd like to say hey to all our new listeners on the podcast. Thanks for tuning in. And also, hey to our new watchers.
Hey,
watchers. Excuse me.
You get to see our pretty faces.
Yeah. So, do check out the website. That's www.broken.picturesno.com. And you can find us on social media, Facebook, Broken Pictures Social, Instagram and Twitter at broken_social. You can find us on Patreon and Broken Pictures. If you want to support us, we'd appreciate that. However, it would probably go a lot further if you would just like and share the video or the podcast and let some people know if you know that they like The Walking Dead, rather. I don't know anybody that would watch The Walking Dead or listen to The Walking Dead before listening or watching The Walking Dead.
Fortune tellers.
Yeah.
So
unless they're like family, maybe my mama or something. I don't know.
Oh, does my mom watch it? No, she doesn't.
I don't know. She shared it.
She tells me she watches it.
So yeah. Share, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Nothing. Oh, let me apologize to everyone that's listening and watching. Past few days, I've been a little under the weather, so if I sound like I have 2 cotton balls shoved up my nose, it's just because my nose is still just a smidget stuffed up.
Yeah, you should tune in and watch so you can actually see those cotton balls if you're listening right now. Just watch. They'll make their appearance sometime during the show.
Wait. Yeah, okay.
Watch closely. Excuse me. Ooh, excuse me. I'm still fighting that little... It seems like I don't have the thing in my throat until it's time to do the podcast. And then I'm just like... So, anyways, special note, Lydia, as you can see, is out once again. She is out. She's ghosted on us. Speaking of Ghost, if you hear any extra noises or anything under the table, my dog Ghost is in here with us. And he's not a fan of people outside of my family, especially men. So as many times as Quinn has been over here, he still gets a little stirred
Antsy?
up. Yeah. He was a rescue, so he's kind of weird around people. And he's a pack dog, so he's like, if you're not in my pack, then you're, whatever.
Like the Rick's group back way when.
Yeah. When they just straight up shot people for not looking at them right.
Oh, good times.
All right. So, special note, Lydia is out. She is out trying on wedding dresses. She's fitting the dress today. This morning she fit it. And so she wishes she could be here. This is a huge episode. You all right, man?
I'm good.
Hacking up a lung over there.
Or
2. Yeah, you need keep 1 at least. So she wishes she could be here. This was a ginormous episode.
It was the biggest episode.
Yeah. There's this one and the first episode. And that's all that matters at this point. Also, Lydia's birthday is Friday. So if you guys want to wish her a happy birthday, today is Tuesday that we're filming or recording or whatever you want to call it. So her birthday is Friday, and if you want to wish her a happy birthday, I'd appreciate that. You can find her on Twidia. That should totally be her name, and I don't know why it isn't Twidia. I have to let her know about that. Anyways, on Twitter, you can find her lid _ pid4, and on Instagram, Lydia Martin 4. So go ahead and wish her a happy birthday. I would appreciate that. It would just make her day if some random stranger wished her happy birthday and just say, hey, love the podcast. Just let her know.
Why is it lid pid 4?
Oh, well, her best friend is named Allie. Okay. So it was Al Pal and Lid Pid.
Okay.
Yeah, just a little background, a little history there. I only found that out recently because I was like, wait a minute, what, why? We've been together 4 years, and I was finally just like, why is it this? He's known her maybe 4 months, and he's like already.
That's the first time I heard it. I was like, why is it that? Because I'm sure her last name doesn't start with a P.
No, it's Martin.
Yeah, so I was like,
no, but not much longer.
Oh yeah, it won't be.
So anyways, by the way, today is November 6th, so happy Stranger Things Day.
Yay!
Yeah, today in 1983-ish, early 80s, Will was taken to the Upside Down, and it all began.
The Demogorgon be praised.
So also, if the podcast gets out today before 7 o'clock, I hope you voted. Go vote. Yeah, do the right thing. Vote your conscience. I would just say that. Vote your conscience. Do some. I mean, it's probably too late at this point, but I'm always a proponent of voting your conscience and not just voting on party lines. Like, look into what Don't just do something because somebody told you to. You should never do that. That's always a bad plan in life in general, especially when it comes to those ruling over us.
Yes. Okay.
So,
yes.
Anyways, let's get out of the political arena before we lose more listeners than we actually have.
Never coming back from.
Yeah, we'll wait till we're doing the Game of Thrones podcast.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, we plan to do. I guess this is the announcement. There's one more season of Game of Thrones, and it's been forever since the last season. So we're just gonna go out with a bang and just have drinks and talk about Game of Thrones. There's only 6 episodes, so we're just gonna hang out.
They're splitting it up too. Mm-hmm. So.
Oh, what? They're splitting it up?
Yeah. It's supposed to be in April when it starts 3, and then later that year 3 more.
Oh my gosh! But they're like movie length quality.
They're gonna be dumb long.
Hey,
I'm not gonna say no reason, but
that'll give us plenty to talk about though.
Yeah.
So, yeah, keep an eye out for that. Excuse me. Yeah.
Vamale Gogulis. And now back to Walking Dead.
Yeah. So we've got tons of content planned. So stay tuned. Keep an eye out. If you don't like The Walking Dead, then we're bound to do something that you like in one way or another. We'll talk about something. So we'll get you in there somehow. All right. So where are we at? Okay. So
spoilers.
Boom. Spoilers. If you don't know, I haven't been saying out loud that there's a spoiler alert, but I've been playing the little audio that says spoilers, 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 which is actually I hope I didn't get in trouble for this, but it's a cut of Andrew Lincoln from one of the conferences saying spoilers.
I think he'd be okay.
Yeah, I'll have to say it myself and just re-record it if I get a cease and desist.
Or we'll do something later. All right, let's go. Keep moving. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, all right, spoiler alert. If you don't know, my rating, let's say if I'm doing like 1 out of 10, and 10 is the best, I'm gonna say 9.5. Like it was up there. Like I really enjoyed it, and I'm using way more than 3 words. Okay, so typical Dylan. All right.
If I have to give a number rating, I'm gonna say 9.7.
Oh, he's got to outdo me. All right. So, and if he did all this with a straight face, wearing this mask. There's just a little Easter egg. If you're actually tune into YouTube or Facebook and watch the show, you get to see Quin looking like he looks right now. You want to do it now, or you want to wait?
I'll wait.
He's laying the groundwork, just like setting. He's setting the bait, setting the trap right now.
I feel like I'm gonna regret it in like a month.
Hey, you gotta put yourself out there, man. You know, so you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah, I guess.
All right, so our Rick Maggie countdown is a bust. Whoa, that was dramatic. It's a bust. They pulled a switcheroo on us with Maggie too.
Did they? Is she gone?
She is gone.
What?
Yeah,
No.
This was it for Maggie. Like, she just went out in a puff of smoke, just like, boop, by the way, I'll be back. That was it.
What?
She was holding back Michonne, and that's the last we saw of Maggie. She's, from what we understood before the season began, they were saying that Andrew Lincoln would be back for 6 episodes, and Lauren Cohan would be back for 6 episodes. This is episode 5 by my count, and officially, and they're both gone.
And they're gone.
And they're gone. So unless this is a fake out, which I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
And they're gonna bring them back for a flashback or something on later on in the season, and they'll get that extra one-off for both of them.
I don't want that though, because the story is literally just jumped all the way forward to where it's basically a whole new show.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah, it's a sequel.
Yeah.
It's a sequel to The Walking Dead, and I'm super excited about it.
Grown Man Judith.
Grown Man Judith. All right, so let's see. Oh, Lauren Cohan is doing Whiskey Cavalier. That's her show that she picked up when she had the little contract negotiation fallout with AMC. And she's doing that show, but she also wants to... AMC and her are both in agreement that they want to see Maggie's story go further. So in her off season, she's going to be filming Maggie episodes. So she's not going to be around that much, but she's still going to be around somewhat. And I'm not sure how they're going to do that unless they just don't go to the Hilltop a whole lot, unless she's not leading the Hilltop anymore.
Unless she left the Hilltop. It's very possible that she just left.
Yeah, maybe she's the one. Because remember in the comics, after her confrontation with Negan left. Maybe she leaves this time, and they kind of remixed it.
I mean, especially after what we saw, what Negan was basically in this episode.
Oh, man. And we'll get into that later. So, we're trying to stay on track and get better about this. Make it a lot easier for you guys to listen, where we don't follow these bunny trails. And plus, Lydia's not here to keep us in line. So,
bunny trails be praised.
Yep. All right, so goodbye, Rick Grimes. Rick is gone, and in honor of the not so late Rick Grimes,
cause I want my cookie. That's what.
Speaking of switcheroo, like he's dead. Oh no, he's not. he's just out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
Everybody else thinks he's dead, which is kind of interesting to see how that plays out, especially. Because they've said that Rick and Michonne's paths, if it's within their power, they will cross again.
Okay.
As long as both actors, their schedules don't conflict and it never happens type thing, they're planning to make their paths.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, but is it gonna be like on the in the rocking chair on the porch when they're old? Who knows?
Ah.
But yeah. So what is your favorite Rick moment
My
throughout the series?
favorite Rick moment is that moment where Rick was like, so back, when they were on Herschel's farm and everything, and like they all found out that they had a barn full of walkers, and Rick was like, if anything goes down or if anything happens, forgot Carol's daughter's name.
Sophia.
Sophia. If anything happens to her, I'll take care of it. And like they open the barn doors, everybody starts just popping zombies' heads, and then out
thanks,
comes
Shane.
little zombie Sophia, and then Rick was like, just straight faced, walked up, pulled the magnum out, pow. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's the guy right there.
I think, like, I can't, I still can't get over the throat ripping out thing, where it's just like, he's sitting there and he's just like, you see that eye curl, and he's just like, and he's about to do something crazy because he gets the crazy eyes. It's like that Shane is coming out of him. And Shane took full credit for it. It's just like that was just like the most extreme moment that stands out in my mind.
For Rick Grimes.
Yeah. I know it's probably cliche, but oh well. It is what it is.
He did turn on the crazy a lot, though, especially after all that. Which it wasn't bad. I enjoyed Crazy Rick.
Oh yeah, it's fun to watch. All right, so let's get into the news for The Walking Dead. And there's a lot. Scott Gimple, former showrunner, now, I don't know what his official title is, Universe Overseer Extraordinaire. I'm not even sure what they're calling The Walking Dead Universe. I don't know if it's going to be like TWDU or whatever. Walking Dead Universe, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
They said they're seeing it in comparison to like Marvel, where it's like it's all connected type thing,
That means more stuff's coming.
Yeah. And where they'll have like one-offs, kind of like how Marvel has shows on Netflix that are like in the universe but not necessarily connected, that kind of thing. Okay. So Gimple was on The Talking Dead after the show, and he had said earlier in the season, or no, I think at the end of Fear the Walking Dead, he said that on Rick's last episode, we're all going to have a sit down. Those who used to watch The Walking Dead, who are going to watch The Walking Dead, those who are still watching, we're going to sit down and have a family meeting and talk about what's to come. And it didn't kind of go over as fluffy as he made it sound. Like it was kind of like just like, oh, here's what we're doing. So it basically he spilled the beans. It's his beans to spill. But he said that Rick is gone off the show. That's unless Andrew Lincoln just decides he wants to come back, which could happen. But at this point, the plan is Rick is gone from the main storyline, the main show. And they were going to do 3 Walking Dead feature-length movies.
That's what I saw. Okay.
For AMC.
All right. As far as that goes, I feel like that would be really fun to continue Rick's story, since we know they didn't kill him and we didn't get zombie Rick. But I don't know how well that might go over. Because, like, are they going to be, like, just TV movies, or are they going to be...
From what they're saying, it's going to be just like... And they're going to treat it just like a movie, except it's instead of premiering at a theater, which it still might, because they showed some of the season finales and premieres in theaters. So maybe they're testing the waters for that. But they will air on AMC as movies.
Okay. So then will he be like the main character, or is he just kind of like, okay?
Yeah, it'll be his story.
It'll be his story and then just other people. Because one of the things The Walking Dead kind of has going for is it has time to build characters and you grow connections to them and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But trying to do all that in a movie, I feel like you just kind of throw people in there and you can just kill them if you want them. Or,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So we'll find out like what's going down with the helicopter people, the AB stuff. Jadis, who we might have missed, is also gone off the show. She disappeared in Rick's shadow along with Maggie, apparently.
They just took him without saying anything. I said they were going to take somebody else.
Yeah.
But
No goodbyes, just poof.
Just poof.
Yep. So, in addition to that, so one of the things that Andrew Lincoln had an issue with was leaving for 9 months out of the year, every year for the past 9 years, to go to America to film The Walking Dead. But with these movies, he's only going to be filming like 2 months out of the year.
Whoa.
So that's a really good deal for him, especially since he really didn't want to leave the character. Apparently there was a big talk back in season 4 with him and Gimple, and they both kind of talked about like their exit strategy. And originally they had planned on Rick dying in season 8. And then Gimple kind of came up with the extended universe idea and kind of toyed with that, and they got to talking and said, yeah, hey, you know what? We can have our cake and eat it too. So let's do that. And he was like, I'm down. Let's do it. So so that's the plan.
Well.
And also, not only Norman Reedus, which was announced this summer that he had signed a $20 million contract with AMC, but also Melissa McBride, who plays Carol, has also signed the same multi-year, rumored to be a 3-year contract, multi-million-dollar franchise contract, which means that they can play in the extended universe sandbox.
That okay. All right, so the more I hear about this, the little bit more excited I'm getting. Like, the trailer after the episode got me hyped to just watch everything, because it's about to get weird.
Yeah.
And I enjoy weird. But with everyone signing contracts, I mean, they obviously thought this through and have a plan, so...
Yeah, and he said that it's not going to be one of those things where they just dump it on everybody. So it's almost like he's saying, without saying, we're not going to do it like DC. We're going to do it more like Marvel and take our time and pour. He said this is like a long-term plan, and we're going to slowly eke it out.
Let's get that slow burn going.
Yeah, so that's their plan. And that he said that he's severely thinking about oversaturation. Like, he does not want to oversaturate at all, and he's been going to be super careful of that. So that is extremely good news, because like, as much as I love Marvel, there are way too many Marvel shows out there for me to even think about.
Who watches The Runaways? I'm sorry.
Or Cloak and Dagger. Is that it? I don't even know when that one started.
My little cousin watches Cloak and Dagger.
It's on on the CW or something.
It's on Freeform.
Freeform,
yeah.
Which is whatever.
ABC Family, what used to be ABC Family.
Yeah.
I think everybody watches Daredevil.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. But I think all that's about to come to an end, because Disney's having their own streaming service coming out like next year.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll be able to rein it all back in and put it all back under one roof where you can just boop and watch all of it.
Or mess everything up. We'll see though.
Yeah, I hope not. Yeah, we'll see. So also, Danai Gurira is in talks for one of these contracts. So she's also getting on board, but the article I read said that they're working towards it. She can't say anything about it yet, about like how long or anything like that. But because of her blowing up right now, she's got all these opportunities, and it's basically based.
She don't want to stretch herself too
Right?
far.
Yeah. It's basically based on how available she's going to be.
Yeah.
Because she's going to be on the show as for the foreseeable future. She seems to be what they call the heir apparent. Like she's the one that seems to be taking over the show as like the main character, even though it's an ensemble. Really, she's running Alexandria for sure. But they do want her to stay pretty badly. Like Gimple, there were some quotes where Scott Gimple was just kind of like, we really want her. Because they like, apparently he's like chomping at the bit. He's got some stories he wants to tell featuring Michonne. So also, he said, Gimple also said that the Walking Dead universe will also dig into the past and see old characters. Which means that he said characters that have died, have come and gone. Like, for example, like, like there was like a spin-off comic of the Governor, like The Rise of the Governor or something like that.
Yeah.
Like we could possibly see that on screen.
Okay. That's doable. But I mean, some of these characters have been dead for so long. I mean, would people really even want to see them back?
I don't see why not, because the fandom still loves these characters,
Yeah.
And I think as soon as they would announce that this is going to happen, everybody would latch on.
Especially
as long as they're
said,
doing it well.
Hey, let's give Glenn his own little story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
like, let's see. Well, I don't know. We've seen Glenn from the Apocalypse
Beginning,
up until,
yeah.
like, but it would be interesting to potentially see Abraham, Eugene, and Rosita.
Right before they met up with everybody.
Yeah, come from Texas.
Yeah. Boy, that must have been a trip.
Yup. Very interesting to see stuff like that. One of the questions I have is AMC just launched alongside this season their own subscription streaming service. So are we going to have to subscribe to AMC Premiere to be able to see some of these things, or are they going to air on the channel?
I really hope they just air on the channel, or have like how they did with some of the little side stories. Like there was one with the airplane. I can't remember the name of it.
And the red machete and all those.
Like I hope it's just kind of like that, or they do like a whole episode somewhere in the midpoint of the season or during the mid-season hiatus, just kind of have like a little mini series, like stories of The Walking Dead or something. But
That'd be interesting.
But I really hope not.
Yeah, and they said that they're very interested in doing multiple platforms.
Yeah.
To where if it's online, if it's streaming, if it's movie, if it's or film, or if it's another spin-off TV show or whatever. And that was another thing that Gimple said, is that these films with Rick are not meant to be to set up other series where it's like,
so
they get you tied
stories.
in, and
Okay.
So basically he's saying that they're not going to abuse our attention,
Okay.
which is kind of like they have with the Negan. Who did Negan kill thing, and then come to find out it was two people, and they completely spent all the change in their pocket.
Because they did they were like those. They were doing something.
Okay,
Like
you translate that for me.
so when they came back at the beginning of that season to find out who they killed, like they dragged it out for so long, the whole episode, and then there was the one scene where like it showed everybody getting hit, but I don't. Did they even show? And they showed Glenn getting hit in it. I don't know if they ever showed Abraham with like a little quick hit in it, but until Abraham actually got hit.
Yeah, that was horrible.
Yeah.
And even like I'm somewhat, if I wasn't so excited for what they're gonna do, I might be upset about the Rick thing. That it's basically a cliffhanger, and then we're gonna do something else, haha.
But
because Gimple actually wrote this episode.
Oh.
It's got his fingerprints all over it. It's like, cliffhanger. I'm gonna show him it could work.
I think his best friend is M. Night Shyamalan.
Potentially, that's his ghostwriter. The twist. Gotta have the twist. Gotta have the twist.
But overall, this episode, I was really satisfied with it.
Yeah, me too.
I would have been more upset if, like, the explosion happened or whatever happened, and Rick just ended up turning into a zombie and actually dying, and like that'd be kind of it.
I don't know. I don't know. We need to actually get into the episode though, because we're so far into it. And by the way, if you made it this far, thank you for listening.
You're so wonderful.
And your patience will be rewarded.
We promise.
We
maybe
hope. So, anyways, if you wouldn't mind using that luxurious voice of yours and reading off the title and description.
Okay. Episode. I don't have my glasses.
Oh, can you not read it?
I can, kind of.
I was fully dependent on the movie voice.
What comes after? Rick is forced to face the past. He struggles to maintain the safety of the communities and protect the future he and Carl envisioned.
And there you have it. So that's this episode. That's the description and the title. Really internally wishing that I had looked up the description and title for the next episode for later on in the podcast. I'll add that next week. This is a learn as you go type thing. And this watch as we figure it out. You can watch our journey. It's all about the journey, right?
Yeah,
not the destination.
Because we're only 5 episodes in.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So, when last we left The Walking Dead, Rick was splayed out across a chunk of concrete with a piece of rebar through his side, struggling to stay conscious.
That he was.
So, let's get into the episode. Fever dream number 1. I was surprised how quickly they got into it. Was like I thought he was going to be laid out on that rebar and just having fever dreams the whole time.
Well, without the fever dreams, if you just do like how long it took from him to get to where the episode ended, it was probably like maybe 10 minutes, if that. Because them fever dreams.
Oh yeah, it's like those dreams. They seem like they last forever, and it was like or 10 seconds, or maybe it's reversed. Because sometimes you feel like you didn't sleep at all, and it was like, I just spent a whole day and a half in my dream. So anyway, he, excuse me, he's standing over himself that was in a coma from episode 1. By the way, these were the first and last scenes that he ever shot as Rick Grimes. He wanted to bookend it like that and go out like that. That was so that like the detail was very important to him. To Andrew Lincoln, by the way. So he's telling himself to wake up as crows fly towards a window. The crows turn into helicopters, and Morgan voiceover comes over and says, "What's your wound?" And then Coma Rick says, "Wake up, asshole." And then he wakes up from the rebar and like a manimal just rips himself up off the rebar.
Pulls himself with this belt. Because belts are handy in the apocalypse.
Yeah, that was genius. Like, I mean, I don't know if I would have just been crying like a baby and just kissing my butt goodbye, probably. But he's Rick Grimes, and by the way, fight or die, unless you're Rick Grimes. Then there's a third option.
Miracles.
Yeah, you make your own path. So. Yeah, he pulls himself off and then he climbs on his white stallion and rides to freedom-ish. And so one of the missable details that I caught, and I seem to catch something almost every episode where there's just like a little clue in the opening credits that I didn't see, but now there's context for it. Like there's the scene where they're pulling back and you see, I guess it's Michonne and Rick rear up on the horses. Well, the the horse on the person on the left looks like Rick, and it looks like he's kind of hunched over a little bit.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I swear, Easter eggs are like the best.
Mm-hmm. I'll have to watch it again, but I think I saw what I think I saw. Yeah. So then we go to Jadis, and she's telling the helicopter that she's got an A. They threaten her with consequences if it's a trick. Of course, she says it's not a trick because she's Jadis.
It's silly rabbit
But
tricks
it's
for kids.
But it's a trick. And then Rick fights to stay woke. He tells himself, keep him safe. He needs to lead him away. He needs to stay away. And he starts to pass out again. And he finds one of the walkers painfully close as he tries to ride faster. But he doesn't get far. But I guess because he's injured. And he's just like, oh.
But then he sees
around.
the path off. The path to, like,
For whatever reason, decides that, I got to get to the bridge to kill him. Oh, wait, there's a path. There's a mailbox. Maybe somebody can... Or maybe he was hoping he would find somebody.
Or maybe he knew that house was there. I feel like they have the area mapped out.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like, why would he think that somebody was there that can help him if they've been in the area? You know, they know the area pretty well. Yeah. But there's also another missable detail there. The name on the mailbox is Cardile, which is a reference to, if I'm saying it right, Cardile, to Lori Cardile. She was the star of Day of the Dead, which was the third in the series of Night of the Living Dead from George Romero. And Greg Nicotero also got his start. That was his first big makeup feature, and he also had a appearance in that movie.
See,
but he got killed.
See, I didn't know all this. You know all this.
Yeah, I forgot where I saw this.
Better with the mask on.
Greg Nicotero also directed this episode, so he kind of put all these Easter eggs in there, and that was his. So yeah, Day of the Dead was his first major makeup job. That's what he does for The Walking Dead. It's hard to take you seriously while you're wearing that, by the way. But no, you can wear it. I just want to look at you.
I don't want you to bust out laughing too much.
So also the actress. On Day of the Dead, Linda Cardile's. Did I say Linda? Lori Cardile's character leaves in a helicopter at the end of the movie. She escapes in a helicopter.
They were telling you the end at the beginning.
Yep. And I saw it all over the place because, like, on YouTube, there was, like, the screenshot was, like, for the video was, like, proof of Rick's exit in the helicopter, and they showed the mailbox, and I was like, I don't know what that means. Because I didn't really want to be spoiled, but after the fact, I went and watched it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Also, the actress that played in the Linda Cardile, why do I keep saying Linda? Linda, listen, Linda. Lori Cardile, her dad played a reporter in the original Night of the Living Dead, the 1968 version.
The black and white version.
Yeah. You ever seen that one?
I have seen that one.
Oh, my. I saw that when I was a kid, and it messed me up.
I saw that one.
Out.
It didn't mess me up, but Resident Evil existed at the time.
Oh, yeah.
So Resident Evil messed me up. Mm-hmm. Everything else was just kind of like, all right, this isn't as scary. I can handle this.
Yeah, that was OG walkers, man. So then we get to Fever Dream number 2. Rick is in the cabin. He's trying to stop the bleeding, rips off some dirty tablecloth or something, ties himself up. I don't know if it works that way, but he tried. and he was like, it worked for Herschel. So then they get to the Fever Dream, and he's riding into Atlanta just like the poster from season 1. But he's got all these walkers following him, and he finds Shane in the middle of broke down Atlanta, and sees the car that's been flipped over and all this stuff. And Shane says that Rick is looking for, Rick says he's looking for his family. And Shane's like, your family? Don't you mean my family? Which, oh man, that was such a good interaction between them two. Because, I mean, John Bernthal is such a great actor.
He is.
And for him and Andrew Lincoln together is just, it was so good.
Gone too soon.
Mm-hmm. So he asks about Judith, and Rick says that he looks like him, or she looks like him, and
good thing she can get your nose.
Yeah. He's like, good thing she don't have my ears either. And then you look at his ears, and they're like tiny little boxer ears looking thing. Anyways, so Shane takes credit for all the raw rage and all the crazy stuff that Rick has done over the course of the series to keep himself and others alive. And Rick apologizes for what he did to Shane, which is a huge thing because, like, I remember a couple seasons in when we started seeing Crazy Rick, it was like, who's worse now, Shane or Rick? And it was like, obviously Rick. Rick done got off the deep end.
Yeah, and he kept justifying, saying, I had to do this. This is what I have to do.
Yeah, and for the same, I mean, had there been another Rick underneath him, then he would have been gone. Because I mean, he did the same thing to Shane. It's just like, that can't be. We got to stay human. It's like they always had an excuse to kill whoever they killed. So then he wakes up after Shane like in his face, and wakes up and the zombie almost gets him. And he kicks his way out of the house. And by the way, the house also is reminiscent of the original Walking Dead. They hold up in the house. So then we go to Michonne. She gets news of Maggie, that Maggie is there at Alexandria. She meets her at the prison door. Maggie convinces her to let her by, despite Michonne actually acknowledging that Glenn and Herschel would not want this. And this, to me, this was so satisfying to acknowledge. Because the whole time, like the last few seasons where Maggie just like, I mean, I know that she just saw Glenn got killed and I expected there to be a reaction to that. But for the entire time for her to just go dark and just keep going dark, and them not really addressing, why she just, or not dealing with it or not touching base with her, I guess. It was hard for me to see her go to that place.
And she was there for so long.
Yeah. And to me, it was, like I kept saying, it was like, how is she there? Because everyone in her family, I mean, Herschel, Glenn, Beth, they were all the moral compasses. And she's just going to...
And they've all been brought back to her dead. Except Herschel. He was a zombie head. And Michonne just went...
Yeah, she saw it, though.
Yeah.
The governor. Ooh. I forget about that. Used Michonne's own sword. So, yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So to me, it was sweetly satisfying for somebody to acknowledge Herschel and Glenn's influence and like, what the hell, Maggie? And so she, and I think that she responded right, or well, rather. And, she was just like, look, you tell me how to turn it off. I can't turn it off. I've tried. I can't live this way. And to me, that was satisfying. Like, that's all I wanted to see, is just deal with that and quit. It's a 500-pound gorilla in the room.
I feel like she was just kind of like putting all her faith in Rick, though, and letting him be her new moral compass. Bad choice.
Yeah.
And then when things went down with Negan under the tree and Rick didn't kill Negan, and then Maggie was just like, all right, Rick has to go too.
Reset.
Negan has to go. Everybody got to go. That's pretty much how she felt.
Yep. And Daryl was like, yeah. I want you to forget that I got Quin killed. Don't put me on the list. I got your back, Maggie.
just don't take that crowbar to my head.
Mm-hmm. So we also saw the crowbar. She warmed up to what she thought she was, to warm up to try to kill Negan, and she just like goes to town on this walker And that was the teaser that we were seeing, and it's her just like, "Arr." And the girl that was with her was just like, oh, this woman crazy. And so then she's just like casually wipes the blood off. It's like, we can go now.
She's like, yeah, let's go. Let's please go.
Yeah. It's like everybody's on edge in the apocalypse, like teetering into craziness. And she basically tells her, like, look, we both know if that had been Rick that Negan killed, like, he would have been gone a long time ago.
Yeah.
And she wasn't wrong. She wasn't wrong, and there's really nothing Michonne could say about it,
Michonne's like, yeah, okay, you got me, without saying it, just handed her the keys.
Mm-hmm. And then we get Maggie confronting Negan, which in the comic book went down a little differently.
Yeah. Negan ended up leaving Maggie just as like, all right, you can say all this that you changed, all that, that's great, but get out. And Negan was like, bet. And he just left.
Mm-hmm. And it also happened like during or after the Whisperer War?
It was during. Yep.
So I guess they decided to keep him because they're going to need him.
Yes.
And go ahead.
Yeah, but Negan now, and especially with everything that's about to happen, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm actually kind of excited to see what they do with him. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely not the Negan that Maggie found.
Yeah, this guy, like I was kind of, last week when they showed him like beating his head against the wall, I was just kind of like, oh, look at this dude. He's just laying it on thick, but he's lost it.
Yeah.
Like Lucille is his tie to reality, and he has lost it. Excuse me. And this guy, I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed just seeing how frail he was, and her just tossing him around like a rag doll, and he, he had these scabs all over him, and almost looked like mange on the side of his head. Like he was just dirty and gross, and
he put on the little, put on old Negan just for a split second. Just so to get Maggie to kill him, but Maggie was like, "Why don't you step into the light?" And once he did, everybody saw his true colors, which makes sense why they were keeping him like literally in the dark the past few episodes.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was probably a couple days at least since last episode, because they've been jumping around like that.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, he's still got wounds on him, but I mean, he's not bloody still, I guess. But I mean, it was satisfying to me, to see that, and for her to just leave him, and the way she was just like, get back in your cell, and he just kind of scurried, back in, instead of like attack. He didn't even have the will to attack her and make her kill him. He just
like, all right,
yes, ma'am,
get back. I'll get back in here.
Such a broken man.
Rick's way worked, and that's what Maggie saw.
Yep, and that's what she needed to see. And I wish that Lauren Cohan was there for the rest of the season, just to see how that plays out with Maggie, because I think that's the healing she needed, and just to see Maggie be Maggie again. Yeah. But she's not gonna be there.
No, because they tricked us.
Yeah. So, and then Maggie comes out, and Michonne's like, what happened? Looks down at the crowbar, and there's nothing on it. And she's like, oh, well, hey, he's already worse than dead. And so then all of a sudden they get word that something's going down at the camp. Something crazy's happening. And off they go to save the day. And then we jump into a series of fever dreams with Rick. We've got 3, 4, and 5. This woman on the I don't know if it was supposed to be Lori or Andrea or anybody, but like just the captions just said a woman says, "What's your wound?" And then we see Herschel greet Rick at the farm. Rick apologizes. It's such a great scene. This is actually Scott Wilson's last on film appearance.
I was just like, oh,
on screen appearance.
I was looking at it, I was like, oh, this sucks. That's the last time I'm gonna see him. But it was a really good scene. Like the setting back at Herschel's farm, Rick up there,
he was just so as warm as always.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was hard to see, but it was so good to see. You know, it was a nice send off to Herschel.
It was.
And he apologizes, tells him, you know, I'm so sorry for what happened to you and your family and Maggie and everything that happened. Maybe if I'd have tried harder. And he's just like, look, man, hey, you did your part. You did what you got to do. Maggie's tough, and the baby's going to make her even stronger, you know, and just loving on him, really. Which is kind of weird because basically Rick in his head is stroking his own ego. Because it's a fever dream, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that says a lot about Rick.
But he said one thing that kind of stuck with me, like that kind of sums up the show. Like everybody has their part to play in all this, and once their parts are done, they just kind of go or die, and that's kind of what it's been like. Like everybody's done something for the community, or another character to either make them stronger or to change them in some way, and then die.
Yeah. And one of the missable details that Angela Kang said during The Talking Dead is that Herschel literally restarts Rick's heart. Like he put his hand on his chest, and then when you see Rick wake up, he's holding his chest and he's like,
what?
Yeah, so that hit me in the feels too. Yeah.
Oh,
and Angela Kang is the new showrunner. In case you don't know, if you're watching this, you probably know who she is.
hopefully.
Yeah. If you're new, hey, thanks for tuning in. So then we get Rick. He wakes up and he passes out again just because the stress of everything that's happening. And then we get Abraham voiceover saying, "What's your wound?" And so then we see Rick in the hospital hall from episode 1. The doors, instead of saying "don't open, dead inside," now "don't" is crossed out and says "open dead outside." Yeah. And so he goes up and he's kind of confused, looks at the door, opens it up, and then next thing he knows, he's having a Tony Stark moment, and all his friends are dead. And you're looking around, and apparently another Easter egg that Greg Nicotero put in there was himself. Apparently he was the first one that you see, the first dead one you see. And as you look around, you can see Daryl, you can see Beth, Maggie, Rosita, Carol, Jesus, Shane.
But you don't see everyone's faces. You just kind of know who that's.
Yeah, and apparently Abraham and some of the other ones were in there too, but it was just like their body double deads.
Okay.
Like, you know, that they used or whatever.
A lot of bodies though.
Yeah. Who was it? Josh McDermott, who plays Eugene, said in an interview, I think it was on the Walker Stalker podcast, he said that that there was like 300-400 people like just laid out. And funny story, he also said that he was in that, but you don't see him on screen because like if you're watching, you see Maggie, and then it pans over a little bit to the left and you see Rosita as it fades out. Well, according to Josh McDermott, Rosita was laying on his belly, and the whole time they're filming and trying to be real quiet and not breathe because they're supposed to be dead. And like for 5 minutes straight, he just couldn't help himself, and he just like caught his breath and he starts breathing, and then he looks down and sees Rosita's head bobbing on his belly, and he just gets that mental image, and he got really tickled and just couldn't help himself, just starts giggling.
That's
and excuse me. And so he and then Greg Nicotero called Cut, who directed the episode, by the way, again. And he said, "Hey, I think I was giggling." He said, "Yeah, absolutely. As soon as we put the camera on you, you started laughing." He said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Can we shoot it again?" He said, "No, I'm afraid we don't have time." So that's why they cut Eugene from, because he was giggling.
Oh,
and I'll have to slow it down and see if I can see Rosita's head bobbing up from his belly. So then Sasha. That was the third person that I could not think of, Sonequa Martin Green. was the third person that was coming back, along with Shane and Herschel. And I couldn't remember her for weeks, and I don't know why I didn't even just look it up. But she was the third person. She shows up and basically said everything that you said about, like, hey, we all did our part. You know, I did my part. You did your part. You've got nothing to worry about. I'm sorry. And he apologizes again. And basically just says, hey, you know what? Everybody did their part. No one is lost. You don't need to find your family because they're not lost. You're not lost. They're not lost. Just, you need to wake up, basically. Everybody's telling him to wake up. So it's kind of like his psyche trying to alarm him of dangers nearby or whatever. And he wakes up and he falls off the horse. And
he's back at camp by now, right?
So,
He's back at camp this time, right?
Yeah, he's back at camp, and the horse runs away. The worst horse ever.
Smartest, dumbest horse.
Finally, the horse runs off after bucking him, and it just always leaving him in the lurch at the worst time possible.
Why would... Every time the horses bucked him off or something, it's always something freaks the horse out. I have no idea what freaked the horse out this time.
Yeah, exactly, because, I mean... Other times he woke up, he's just like he's almost surrounded by walkers.
Yeah.
And the horse is just like, oh, what? Hey, hey, what's up, guys? Oh, we're going this way. It's like, oh, it's the most inconsistent horse ever.
Yeah, he fell off the horse, and you see the horse just darting like a mountain by.
Yeah.
So.
And this struck me because he woke up at the camp just as he's dying, just in time to see that everybody he was trying to save is turning into walkers. And there's, and he, of course, he knows about the gunshots and everything. So he's seeing that everything just has hit the fan, and he's just like, oh, great. And starts killing walkers as they're coming at him. And one even falls on top of him. And to me, it's like, why didn't you gut that walker? You got a herd coming at you. Gut the walker and cover yourself.
You're bleeding out, and you're not thinking straight. You just got adrenaline pumping. It's like, I'm just going to kill everything while I die.
Yeah. And and apparently we get like a Lost moment where you start to see the trees shake and the monsters come out of the forest. And so maybe that's why he was thinking, okay, well, I got to save everybody still. And so he gets up, drags himself over to the bridge, and basically gets there just in time for his friends to rescue him. Has this little sweet moment with Michonne. And Lydia even said that was like a huge herd of walkers. There's no way they killed all those walkers already.
No, it got me. It was like when everybody came in, I was like, oh snap, it's like the Avengers. This is amazing. Mm-hmm. And then like everybody's fighting, and then basically all the main characters just kind of stopped and turned around while Michonne was talking to Rick. And it's like, why are they doing that? I know the walkers didn't stop. Why what are they doing?
And you were there? If you guys can't see, this is Ghost down here. He's kind of sniffing around back here.
Let me touch you. Oh, hey.
You're being sweet. Look at that.
Well, that's like the first time ever.
Oh, he looks super close. Hey, Ghosty.
Hey, buddy.
Good boy. Good boy, Ghost. All right. So, yeah, a little Easter egg. If you watch the show, you get to see my dog's eyeball peek over the table.
But, yeah. Them just kind of standing there, and then, like, Michonne was like, wake up. And I was like, oh, no, that's it. Rick's about to die. Mm-hmm. Like, that was all I felt. Because, like, they showed that scene in the trailers, and, like, had you thinking, like, that was the scene. Like, where everything was going to go down and everyone was going to be saved, and it wasn't.
And one thing, like, on the rewatch, when I went back, it was basically the same shot of his shuffling boots, but there was no blood this time. So it was kind of like a little, like, haha, we got you.
Okay. All right.
And, so she's like, hey, look. He's like, oh, this isn't real. And he's like, of course it's real. Now wake up. It's like, what? And then he wakes up and he's just like by himself out on the bridge. And by the way, this is the same bridge that I didn't know this until I heard it on, I want to say, another podcast. And I went back and checked when Daryl found Merle, and they left the prison together in season 3.
Mm-hmm.
They found this Hispanic family up on the bridge, and Merle was trying to take all their stuff. They were being attacked by walkers, and Daryl went up to save them and started killing the walkers, and then Merle decided he wanted their stuff. And Daryl basically put the crossbow to his head and said, let him go, and they got away. And that was like one of the first big moments where Daryl decided he was going to be different type thing.
Yeah.
And and I guess so. It was a big. It obviously wasn't meant to be the same bridge because now they're closer to DC than Georgia, than Atlanta.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was actually the same bridge. So that's a little interesting tidbit.
Still had it handy.
Yeah. So then, Michonne also told Rick, one of the reasons I fell in love with you is because you're a fighter. Now fight. Because it was like every person he talked to was basically telling him it was okay to die until he got to Michonne. And Michonne was like, oh, no. We don't die. We fight. And he's just like, okay. And so then he kind of shuffles across the bridge, barely makes it across the bridge. And we see the shuffling boots with the blood and everything. And hey, Ghost. He's like sticking his head on the front of the table now. So if you get a little puppet pop up in the front, that's the dog's nose. So he barely makes it across the bridge and is just really hoping. There he is. See his ears. Go lay down. So he barely makes it across the bridge and is hoping that the bridge is just going to cave underneath the weight of all these walkers, and it holds. And he's just like, well, crap. It's like just literally everything is not going his way today. It's like the worst day in Rick Grimes' life.
Second worst.
Yeah. Yeah. He lost Lori, lost Carl.
Found out I don't know how long he would have known Judith wasn't his baby. Yeah.
I think he knew from the beginning. He just didn't want to admit it to himself. Because I remember him and Lori had that conversation. She was like, Rick, don't. Like back at the farm. And so I think he knew. He just didn't want to admit it to himself. Until later on, he was just like, yeah. So then he's basically just out. He's done. He's tried everything he could. And he's standing up, falling, passing out, and a walker comes up and just like nearly bites him, and Daryl to the rescue, just like, I got you, brother. And every time a walker comes near, Daryl shoots it
with his endless supply of arrows.
I know, right? And so then he sees the toolbox or whatever with the dynamite fall over and not go off, apparently. Yeah, because you're always seeing like the westerns, like they're having to carefully move it, and all. It just falls off the table.
Brisky, don't you drop that box of dynamite!
It's always bleeding, or leaking or whatever.
Nitroglycerin.
Yeah, and so he shoots it, and I think everybody else shows up, and you can kind of hear everybody talking like, "What's he doing? What's he doing? Oh, he's hurt." He's trying to take out the bridge. No. And then Michonne is just like making a beeline and they're on the other side of the river, right?
Yeah.
So Michonne's making a beeline trying to get up there, and he blows up the bridge before she gets there.
Because they all made a conscious decision. We're going to die to save Rick. And Rick was like, no. What
not for me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he even says, no, not for me, and there's too many. Because, I mean, this is like the mega herd for some reason. I guess
the two that fused that Eugene couldn't find a good name for.
Yeah. Yeah, they fused. But they said how many were in like the other groups, and like the Margaret group had like 5,000 or something like that. But this group, they never said how many, because it was a different name or whatever. So it was a different group. Excuse me. But, so yeah, he blows it up, and Rick is gone, disappears, and we get the scene of Maggie and Carol holding Michonne back that kind of mirrored the scene where Rick decided to save Negan, and Michonne was holding Maggie back. And so we're probably going to see Michonne go dark, if that's what they're hinting at. Excuse me. And so yeah, then Daryl apparently is just crushed and just turns around and walks away. It's not like, hey, you okay? Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what it's looking like for Daryl. He's out, bro. So then we get, oh, by the way, the episode's not over. Jadis hears all the chaos on the radio as she's driving their RV that she stole from our group back.
So that was their RV.
Well, it wasn't like the RV, like Dale's RV, but it was one of them that they had.
Okay.
Yeah, because at first I thought it was, but then she got out and it was like a shorter one. And I was like, oh, okay. Because remember they blew it up when they like armored it and took it to Negan. And yeah, I mean the RV was a character within itself.
It was.
And excuse me. I had to get a good one. So yeah, Jadis hears all the chaos on the radio, sees the smoke from the bridge, and just kind of like, what is going on? And then she starts seeing all these walkers washing upriver rather. And then of course, boom, oh my gosh, there's Rick conveniently right there climbing out of the river, like he was blown there or something. But when he's standing on the side, so I mean like if the explosion goes out, it would have blown him away from the bridge and not like towards the river.
Unless he just like, I'm gonna jump in the river.
Yeah, it's like, I'm done. I need to take a bath. It's been a long day. So anyways, she finds him on the side of the river, very conveniently, which I'm not, you can probably tell I'm not really a fan of this Deus Ex Machina. The Ex Machinas are such like lazy story writing. It's because it's like, okay, I want X to happen by the end. Let me write myself into a corner and then just make it happen instead of working towards it to where it makes sense. Yes, sir.
So
he's got his hand raised over here.
At least it wasn't time travel.
Yes. Well, technically with the time jump.
Don't even try.
So yeah, then we see Jadis negotiating with the helicopter, and she's like, hey, I got a B. I never had an A. It's not a trick. And they're like, there's going to be consequences. And she's like, hey, I just need to help a friend. And so suddenly, I don't know if it's because Rick is wounded that now he's a B, or
I think it's the one that's wounded. Has to be. Because I mean, the only reason, like Rick, if it's Alpha and Beta, Rick is nothing more. Rick is the Alpha.
Yeah, for
all
real.
The time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, he pulled himself off of rebar with like 2 herds of walkers coming at him with an unreliable horse. Like he is the ultimate cowboy.
Yeah. So I think because that makes more sense if it's someone that's just healthy that she just has to like kidnap and throw in there. They don't have to like do anything extra with as far as using medical supplies. Then that's an A. With Rick, he had the oxygen tube in the nose. They stitched him up, gave him some drugs for the pain.
Yeah, apparently they have like all modern medicine wherever he's going.
It is civilization wherever they live.
Yeah, which I guess like there was those 3 circles on the thing and the letter A. Do you recognize those circles? Is that like Commonwealth or is that?
It might be. I don't recognize the circles though.
I wonder. Or I wonder if this is something that Gimple just invented, and it's something. Yeah, I don't know.
Could easily be.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with all the details of the comic book, which is why Quin is here. Not the only reason, but
no.
Yeah, he's here for entertainment. I mean, just look at him. He's wearing this colorful mask right now, which if you're still watching. Tune in. I mean, keep watching, and you'll find out why. At some point, I'm on edge. I'm in suspense to figure out what the mask is for. He hasn't told me yet, so keep watching. You'll see. Keep listening. So, anyways, the song that they play, Space Junk, at the end was apparently the same song that they played at the end of episode 1, and that was also one of the things that Andrew Lincoln and everybody was kind of adamant on using as just bookending Ric's story.
I was trying to listen to the words of that song, but I don't know what they be doing when they be playing songs on The Walking Dead. They got the audio on it like...
It was so out of place.
I'm like, all right, I don't know what this means now.
Yeah,
but
it's weird.
But yeah, I guess since it was at the end of episode 1, that's a good way to end it. Still don't know why the song is there, but yeah.
And I think I remember, like, when it came on, I was just like, I remember this stupid song. It was like, when it came on the first episode, I was like, what the heck? Only probably with the more expletives. Because it was just like out of left field. I'm sure that somebody had a good reason why they explained to people that actually let them put it on there.
That was like 9 years ago. They can't remember that reason now.
Yeah. I'm sure Andrew Lincoln remembers. I just like the song. So anyways, then as the helicopter fades off into the distance, we get a time lapse and swings over, and we see Magna and her group fighting off walkers, getting in a circle, being overwhelmed by the walkers, and
with sticks. It was years into the apocalypse. Where do these people come over here fighting with sticks still? Why?
Well, I mean, you probably know a lot more about Magna than I do. I don't know anything about Magna besides that she's a character from the comics.
It's about but in short, we'll go in more depth within the next episode, but in short, with Magna showing up, it's about to get gross and really rough. It's about to be that show. So we've got in this new group, of course, somebody out of the blue is a crack shot and just starts taking out walkers left and right and opens up a path and, hey, it's open over here, come on through. And they get over there and we see Judith Grimes. Grown man Judith.
She's got like a baby katana on her back. She's got boots like her dad's. She's got a flannel like Carl and Lori. She looks like Lori. She's got a braid. I guess that's Michonne as well. And she's got the hat. And I don't know how many hats they got, or if they're shrinking and stretching this hat, because how you gonna tell me this is a grown man's hat and it like fit on Carl's head like big and stuff when he was little, and now it just fits her just right.
Cause she has a lot of hair.
It's like, I'm Judith Grimes.
I really wish Carl hadn't died, because like every time I imagine, the second they said anything about time skip, or like I just thought about the show having a time skip like the comics, I just imagined Carl looking like that, just walking around with a katana, his dad's gun, the hat, and anytime something comes up, he just kills it with random knives that just shows up out of nowhere.
Wow. And yeah, so at this point, Judith is confirmed to be 10 years old. So this is a 6-year time jump.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. And so the new players that we have, the newcomers, we got Magna, Connie, Kelly, Yumiko, and Luke.
Luke was the guy in black.
Yeah, he's the guy from Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah. I recognize him. I just didn't know where I recognized him from.
Yeah, the baker guy. He's super fun to watch. I really hope to see more of him. And since they cast a big name actor, I would hope that they've got plans for him. Sorry, it's still hard to look at you wearing that mask.
Well, anytime they have any sort of big name actor show up, or any actor that you might recognize from another show that kind of has a name behind them, they tend to die quick.
Really?
Everybody hates Chris.
Well, he was on for a season or two, wasn't he? A couple
season
seasons?
and a half, maybe.
Oh, he still played a big character, though.
Because like when they got Alexandria, he ended up getting killed. in the supermarket, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but like he had met
in between the rotating doors.
Yeah, but he had met Beth in the previous season at the hospital.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So is Luke a significant character? Is that somebody that's made up?
Somebody's made up.
Okay. So they'll probably remix him with somebody else or something. Some
Probably.
remix characters. So yeah, also Judith Grimes is an Apocalypse Jedi. Apparently, she's got the katana, but also this is the actress that played young Rey in The Force Awakens. So that's pretty cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Right. So all of us nerds had a collective nerdgasm just now. That our fandoms are crossing over.
That's really cool. That's kind of all I can say. I don't know what else to say. I just want her to use the katana now.
Yeah. All right. So now we've covered the episode. We're going to cover what's next coming up on The Walking Dead. We are quite a bit into this episode. We're going to keep going. And you can come back to it later or just keep listening or keep watching or whatever. We'll be here, of course, because it's on digital. But there is so much to cover on this that I hope... Yeah, I'm going to have to stop because my lights are gone. Pause. So we took a little break. If you need to take a break, we understand. But just don't forget to come back. All right, so now we're going to talk about what's coming up next on The Walking Dead, next episodes. They gave us a little what's coming up next on the next 3 episodes teaser. So we're going to kind of go through that real quick, but also cover some of the things we know from what's what. So we get a 6-year time jump. AMC confirmed that Judith is 10 years old. To give some context, it's been 7.5 years since Negan's defeat and Carl's death, which is kind of...
Negan's been in jail for that long.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, this is longer than the apocalypse has been going on. So he's been in jail longer than he's been fighting zombies.
But the apocalypse is basically over. At this point, you can just say it's a new world.
Yeah, they figured it out by now.
Yeah. If they haven't, they're just, still running around trying to kill people with sticks.
Like Magna, dummy. So she's not as smart as she looks. So it's been 10 years since Lori's death at the prison, and 10 years and 8 months since Shane knocked Lori up. So since episode 1, we're right at about 10 years. Another thing coming up on The Walking Dead, Michael Cutlitz, who played Abraham, shadowed episode 4, which is why he wasn't there for episode 5 that they used to like his dummy for the Sea of Bodies or whatever. He's going to come back and direct episode 7.
What?
Which is pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And that they can do that. They trust people enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean they're really like expanding the universe inside their circle, which is really cool. That they're doing that, and Andrew Lincoln is coming back to Shadow later this season, if he hasn't already, and he's going to direct an episode or 2 in season 10. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so everybody's getting growth opportunities. Excuse me. So, all right, let's get into the teaser for the next 3 episodes. We're going to kind of skim through this quickly, then we'll go back and talk about it. All right, so we get a shot of Michonne and her new hairdo.
Love it.
Same. She says she hasn't given up and never will. We get a shot of Daryl. Looks pretty rough.
Boy.
Then Carol, with a bow and arrow and long silver hair, looks like Link or a Lord of the Rings elf. And she's also still wearing King Ezekiel's ring. So they are still together.
Or married.
Or married. At this point, we would hope so. 6 years down the road, you need to do something about that, Ezekiel. No, apparently she's probably the one telling him to wait.
Probably.
And so she's drawn on somebody and tells them to drop it. So somebody is acting strange
Dumb,
up in the
yeah. Don't act dumb around Queen Carol.
for real. And then we get another shot of Judith and her braid and just kind of walking through the house as kids do. And then we get another shot of Daryl the Hermit. And his clothes are just looking rough. And he says there's a storm coming. And then we get a shot of the new people being led into Alexandria. And Judith is playing with a sheriff cowboy toy and asks someone off screen who appears to be Negan that she's talking to. She's sitting like on the steps talking to him as he's still in his cell. And asks if he knows about the strangers that they picked up yesterday. And he says, very friendly like Uncle Negan. He's like, I know you just want to help him. You know,
He's shaved too. So he's like either he's then
they're
lost it to the point where
taking care of him.
Yeah. Or I mean like but he wouldn't we saw him here, he had this really long, lustrous white beard. I feel like he should have kept and just let it keep growing.
Yeah, like Rick Van Winkle.
But now I guess he's just content enough to be like, all right, I'm stuck here. Might as well make the most of it.
Mm-hmm. All right. So Negan apparently is obviously still in jail. It looks like Judith is getting that part of Carl's story from the comics, where he visits Negan on a regular basis. Then we see Magna. I spelled manga on the notes. Magna and Michonne exchanging dirty looks. So there's probably going to be some dirty stuff there. Then we see Eugene kill some walkers with looks like maybe Rosita, and the ponytail it's long.
It's long.
Yeah, it's not only down its back, it's like to his butt, and it's like wrapped in some like leather tied up action, like Native American style braid ponytail. It's like
it was just like right there.
lustrous. He's got it pulled back.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I thought he had cut it originally too, but then when they showed the back shot of him killing these walkers, he had this long braided ponytail. And so yeah, he's got this long lustrous ponytail. And then we see Gabriel talking to Rosita about the radio and looking further out, and he says, what else might be out there? And about that time, we see Eugene and Rosita run into the Whisperers, go down in the mud, hide, and we hear the Whisperers, you know, that scene, where are they? You know, that. And then we see Jesus, Aaron, and Daryl watching walkers from far away, and they're just kind of milling around, and Jesus asks Aaron, you ever seen them do that? And he says, no, never. Never seen him do that before. And then we get a shot real quick in the dark. We see somebody else in the background. We see is the light, and then we see Daryl with flashlight, and a dog runs by. Daryl has a dog.
Daryl dog.
Super excited about that. And so I wonder what his name is. Anyways,
Merle.
what did you say?
Merle.
Come here, Merle. We named the dog Merle. So, okay. Yeah. Aaron, and we see Aaron looking very afraid, running from walkers in the woods. As Eugene says, the walkers are evolving. Yeah. Rather crazily, like frantic. And then we see Judith tell the newcomers, as they pull bags off their heads, you'll be safe here, I promise.
Man, Judith.
Yeah. Then we see Michonne hastily leading the newcomers like around the corner, and she's got the doctor with her and one of the former saviors. So apparently he made the transition, and
Peacefully.
yeah, so he's accepted in the group apparently because Michonne comes around the corner. She pulls her sword, and he is carrying this giant purple duffel bag full of something. And they're running from something or to something or escaping, I don't know, or stealing, I don't know. We'll have to see. Daryl, we get another shot of him. He's like looking out over the ledge of something in the dark, and he's either in awe or wonder or scared or puzzled. He's probably seeing the Whisperers talk or something for the first time, I would imagine. And then we see grown-up Henry who's probably also going to share some of Carl's storyline, telling Carol that she taught him to stand up for what's right and fight what's wrong. Sounds like Henry. And we get a shot of the windmill that's actually finished. And we see Negan in his cell throw like a little tennis ball. And he's playing ball with somebody, but we never see who gets the ball. And we see a close-up shot of Rosita. And she's got blood on her head. She's very afraid, running away from something. And and then we see Kelly, one of the newcomers, kill a walker with a slingshot, just like right at the camera, just like hole through its head. And then we get a really quick shot of Jesus slaying walkers in midnight, just looking like a ninja, just like flying through the air, just like wow, double kicks and all kinds of crazy stuff.
He just keeps getting cooler.
Yeah. All right. So that's all I saw in there, like trying to pause it and not fast forward, pause and play and stuff. Mm-hmm. So what stood out to you and what do you think is going to be a big deal?
Walkers evolving. That's going to be
Whisperer.
That's going to be their thing. If it's not the Whispers, it's just going to be weird. But if it is the Whispers, it'll still be weird, but weird and gruesome.
Yeah.
Because...
go ahead.
A Whisper War is coming.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if they're just alluding to the Whisperers. Like, they see the walkers and they're actually Whisperers, and that's why they think, the walkers are evolving. Or if it's actually both. A little bit of both.
That could work. Because, I mean, the walkers act differently when stuff happens to them. Mm-hmm. Like, the ones Michonne had, they weren't as aggressive because they didn't have jaws.
Right.
So, maybe they're just starting to delve into other things. Like, this world exists. They've been here for over a decade now. Mm-hmm. And they've kind of just been the same dead corpses shuffling around, catching people off guard.
Yeah, like you said, they've got it figured out by now. They understand how this world works, and it's just the world they live in now. And walkers aren't really that much of a threat because they've figured out how they move, how they herd, how they pack, or whatever. And that's why it's such a big deal when Jesus and Aaron and Daryl see this one herd that doesn't act normally. And so, obviously, it's the Whispers.
I mean, yeah.
I'm curious if they're actually going to get into any kind of actual evolving, because by this point, there's no walker left from the original, from the very beginning. I mean, they're all rotted out. So these are all like new people, which kind of blows my mind. Like Lydia mentioned it a couple weeks ago, just talking about how, like, why are there still herds of walkers? Why are there still huge herds? Because they would have rotted out by now. Why can they still shuffle around and even move? Because they're rotting out. And especially now, a decade in, there's no way.
There's no way. So it's either the Whispers or it's actually something that's going on with whatever made people turn in the first place. It mutated and evolved. Now, let's make them think.
Yeah.
But no, don't.
Yeah. I'm curious. I'm not sure I like it or not if they changed it, but it would be interesting.
Yeah.
In the least.
It'd be a bold move.
Yeah. And because, I mean, they've got to go somewhere at some point, because at this point, there's only fresh walkers, and so it's basically just anytime somebody dies, they just, just like we learned with the Black Plague, it's like, don't leave the bodies out.
Yeah.
Bury the bodies, burn the bodies, and then we won't get Black Plague. So now they've learned that when somebody dies, stab them in the head. Don't just let it be, kill the brain. And so it's kind of like they've just adapted to this way of living now. And so, I mean, it's hard to say unless you've just got sparingly just like one or two people here, unless there are whole communities that have died and are turning into herds out there somewhere,
I feel like
why would there be a
point.
herd that big, at this point?
Even like from like if they migrated from all the cities or whatever for some reason going all the way to Georgia or to DC, it shouldn't be that bad.
Yeah, yeah. Originally those were extremely populated cities, but at this point, their
Ghost
bodies,
towns.
yeah, their ghost towns have to be rotted out and not be a threat. You know, I mean, if you're already seeing, one of the teasers that I saw showed Daryl kind of hunting, and there was this walker that was kind of like grown into a tree, and it was like, you know, like the world is coming back. You know, it's like it's growing again, and this is just another thing that nature has you know has just a speed bump in progress. You know,
which is just walkers. So, but like, you know, everything's fine. It's been a decade. If there are walkers that are new walkers, they have to be something different if they are.
Yeah. At this point, they almost have to evolve, because other than that, it just becomes a frontier Western story.
Yeah, which this show's not gonna be anymore. It's something new. That's kind of what the past few seasons were. Was like the Wild West. We're trying to establish this new world.
Well, I think this is probably more elements of that, because you've got communities sparingly, you know. And they said also that that Rick was kind of right in that what the destruction of the bridge would mean for the communities and how they would fall apart. And this is where they're at 6 years later, to where one of the sneak peeks, I think it was on The Talking Dead or something, showed Michonne come into Alexandria and meet the newcomers, Magna and her group, and she's like, "Who let them in?" And who made the call? And Eugene, and she's like dictatorship at this point, is what it seems like. She's hardcore, and Rick's death has changed her after all this time. Even though she's saying in the teaser, "I haven't given up," you know, all this stuff, but.
New faces. I don't like them.
Yeah. Eugene is saying, "Hey, these guys are whistle worthy. They're clean as a whistle," you know. And she said, "But who made the call?" And Aaron said, "It was me. I made the call." And she said, "It's not your call to make, Aaron." Called him out. And then so Judith steps up and is like, I made the call." And she just kind of looks at Judith like, "Who you think you are?" Like, "I will tan your hide." And
grown man Judith. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, because the girl is 10 years old. Like, how? I mean, you think a teenager nowadays is bad? Just wait until they can actually like go out and fight and survive on their own, and then you come home and try to tell her to go to bed at night.
Like, she saved them, but she was all by herself. Like, there was nobody else there. That was, well, bravo to all of her genetics and Michonne for, I guess, training her to be the perfect killing machine.
She's nature's cat.
But I mean, she's the first child that we've really seen just grow up in the apocalypse that's not crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's not, what was it? Oh, shoot, what was the name? Oh, the girl, the Look at the Flowers girl.
Yeah.
Man, that girl was nuts. Oh, yeah, so apparently Judith has a good head on her shoulders, and she's probably read the letters that Carl wrote, and she remembers what Carl looks like from the photo they took, and is kind of like, she's probably got a good grasp on reality that she grew up in, and then what the goal is as far as like the vision that Rick and Carl had for society to move toward it, but more of a grasp on reality because she is a child and can adapt to that type of thing more readily.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my take on it. So the thing with the radio is a big deal from the comics, from what I understand, moving forward. It looks like Gabriel's going to get some of Eugene's story on this.
Mm-hmm. So in the comics with that one, the radio, this is right before the Whisperers War. They're, pretty much going out searching for new land and everything. Mm-hmm. But we'll see what they do with it, because they always change everything. Or they change it just a tad.
Remix it and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if what is it called? What is the big group or civilization?
Commonwealth?
Yeah, if the Commonwealth isn't where Rick is, then that's a whole nother group.
Yeah. Completely whole nother group that he went to, but I still feel like it's the U.S. government. But,
Potentially, yeah.
Potentially.
Because they're a lot more harsh than, from what I understand. Like, the Commonwealth is more like
they're
civilized.
Just like come in. What'd you used to do beforehand? Do you want to do that now? And it's just life, basically. Life before the apocalypse.
Very cool. And oh shoot, I had something. Oh, Georgie's group. So there's apparently, I wonder if Georgie is from the Commonwealth or if she's another community, which would be 3 civilized communities out there within striking distance of our group.
That all seem to be doing way better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, surprisingly so.
Yeah, maybe because they were, I don't know, in the Northeast where there was a lot more people to work with or something. I don't know.
Or a lot harsher winters, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. You're trying to say in the winters they got together and made more babies?
Well, maybe the walkers got frozen in the winters.
Oh, I see. Oh, it's
Less,
just kind of like the mosquitoes die off when it gets cold.
Less stuff to try to kill you.
That makes sense. Except that it could kill them too.
Yeah. Unless they had electricity and heating. There's a lot that goes into thought of how they would have survived for so long and be so far ahead of all the communities.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they found one of these bunkers that the government has, like, for the apocalypse and stuff, and that's how they survived. And they're still trucking normal lives, Mm-hmm. And so I'm assuming, because Maggie is now out of the picture, this was also Maggie's last episode, that I should hope that they address it directly and quickly. But I think that they will, because before Maggie went to confront Negan, Jesus had mentioned that Georgie sent another letter, and she said, "I'll read it when I get back."
Okay, she's gone. She went to Georgie.
Yeah,
that's probably about it.
And Jesus had also mentioned an episode or two before that Georgie had been asking if she was going to come. She was trying to recruit her. So that's probably where she's probably going to come back and forth between the two communities, I assume. That would just make sense.
Yeah, especially with the way her filming schedule is going to be going. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm blown away that we didn't get. I mean, as much as we love to hate Jadis. Isn't that right, Jadis?
Yeah.
Am I even saying that right? I can't even talk right now. As much as we love to hate her, Pollyanna McIntosh is a great actress. She portrayed her very well, and she felt very vulnerable and strong when she needed to be strong. And I mean, she had a quite an interesting arc when she was on the show, but she's gone now, and she just kind of faded away in the shadow of Rick.
We'll see her in a movie.
Yeah, she better be in the movie, because
if not, that's just gonna leave like a huge hole.
Yeah, and she would be a great plot device for Rick for Rick and the audience for them to explain what's going on and where, you know what I mean? Kind of like you have to have a go-between.
Because if they do something with the movies and like Rick's just kind of, it's like a time skip even there, and we don't know. It's like Rick, and he's the head of this whole giant complex of life now. Like it'll be weird. We won't know what's going on. It's just a movie with Rick Grimes in it.
Yeah, and another thing that Gimple said is that we know Rick Grimes. We know he wants to be home. So for there to be a 6-year time skip, and then Rick still hasn't found his way home, like that's like, what's going on over there?
Unless like in the movies, like by the end of the first one, he's like, Rick, where are you going now? And he's like, I'm going home, and like home is where he just came from with the people that took him in the helicopter. He made a new home.
I don't know, because I mean, he I don't think he'd leave. He would purposely leave Michonne and Judith. Speaking of, another thing that got glossed over that I just realized, there's no new Grimes baby.
No, there isn't.
So that's kind of a pregnant. Yeah. She didn't get pregnant, as far as we know. Unless they want to mention that she lost the baby, or if she got a babysitter somewhere. But by this time, the baby would be 5 years old. You know.
Yeah.
So is there another 5-year-old walking around, or is that it? Do we have like Grimes blood? No.
I don't think so.
Probably not. We're not that lucky.
No. I feel like they just want the Grimes legacy to continue just with Rick.
Yeah, but why tease us so? I mean, like that's pretty cruel to, just like, hey, we're gonna make a new baby, and psych, Rick is gone. And yeah, we got Daryl seeing crazy stuff. Daryl apparently has just checked out, and I'm kind of torn about this, and I want to see what they do. Because, I mean, his little ass kicker is all grown up. You know what I mean? Like, he's Uncle Daryl to Judith. And he's just going to not... I mean, apparently he's still connected with the communities in some way because he was there with Jesus. And, yeah. And from what I understand, Aaron and Jesus were both... what was it called? People that go out like scouts,
scavengers.
Yeah, scavengers and scouts before that. So that's probably what they're doing now, and because that's always what Jesus wanted to do anyway. He wanted to get the hilltop to a stable place so he could go back out and all this stuff. And the actor Tom Payne even mentioned that was what Jesus wanted to do. So
and that's what Daryl said before, like several times to Rick when he was at the sanctuary. Like, I don't want to be out here telling these people what to do. I'm better out there.
Yep. Yeah. So that makes sense that they're scavenging, and except Daryl looks like he's fully embraced, like living. He's like Mountain Man Daryl at this point, except he's still getting regular haircuts because he's still got the same haircut. He's the only one that, Jesus has a little bit of like plated armor, almost like he borrowed some armor from the kingdom.
Yeah.
And then, but Aaron looks the same. Daryl looks the same.
See his hook hand or claw or nubbly.
Well, when and that was also another thing when they showed the newcomers coming through the gate at Alexandria, they didn't have the bags on their heads. They were just like walking through the gate, and Aaron was with them. And as far as I could tell, he didn't have anything on his arm. But in the scene where he's with Jesus and Daryl, you can kind of see like a little wooden hand that they've made.
I don't want a wooden hand.
I know, it's kind of weird looking.
Just give him a
It's like,
pike.
I hope that they didn't just put like a fake wooden thing like over his real hand. Because remember Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when Yo-Yo lost her hands and she was wearing like these weird looking glove things? It just looks so fake and awkward.
Yeah, that made her arms longer.
Yeah. And she didn't know what to do with them. She was just like literally doing like the robot the whole time. I hope they don't do that. I hope they actually like make it look legit. Any more thoughts on what the purple bag could be?
Body parts? I'm just... I hope it's
Is that something in the comics you're not telling us?
No. I'm just saying. Anytime someone brings around a giant duffel bag full of stuff, I'm assuming it's body parts.
Oh, yeah. It's not that kind of story. Well, it might be. I don't know.
I mean, it could be guns, could be
Yeah.
weapons, like swords and stuff.
Mm-hmm. It looks like they've stolen from somebody. Because, I mean, they're obviously going to be dealing with the Whisperers, but they could potentially still be dealing with other communities at this
And the
point.
communities that we have now could be, they could all be friendly, but there could still be some like turmoil
Yeah,
with them.
yeah. Agreed.
So,
Yeah, because, I mean, that's one of the things that Angela Kang said was that Rick was he was correct in what would happen to the communities if the bridge didn't survive. They just kind of grew apart.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Especially with those certain people in those certain communities, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
Especially with Ezekiel's very vibrant personality.
Yeah. Oh, and one of the teasers, like if you look up on YouTube, you can find like the first 6 minutes of the next episode. And I watched it, and there is a scene. Spoilers. We're talking spoilers, anyways. There's a scene where Carol straight gets up out of bed with Ezekiel, like they are full on living together. They are married, like they're in it. And he's just laid out in the bed, just happy as could be, with his shirt off, and just like, "Hey, baby." And her hair is just kind of like straggly. She just woke up. But yeah, the hair looks real.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's, a lot of times, like some of the wigs just look fake, like Ezekiel's wig. I'm still not over. Just kind of looks fake. But anyways, all right. I think that's it. Unless you got anything else.
No.
Daryl's dog. Hit us up with ideas. What do you think the dog could be named? Daryl.
Still Merle.
We named the dog Indiana. So, anything else? You got anything else? You have to tell us what this mask is about. We have waited so long.
So, the mask is going to be a part of something I'm going to do probably a little later today, because I'm going to issue a challenge in a certain thing, and the challenge will be to the world.
Ooh.
So, just...
Brother.
Stay tuned. Look on my Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that, and you'll see what this is about.
Yeah.
That was weird.
By the time this comes out, he probably would have already posted this, so you might have to go back through his feed.
Yeah.
And so what's your Twitter handle?
Twitter handle is @the_Quintaro with a no space, obviously, and then for Instagram it is _Quintaro. And
By the way, if you didn't know, Quin is short for Quintaro.
Yeah, that's my actual name.
That is a very cool name.
Well, thank you. My aunt came up with it because apparently we all have weird names. So, yeah.
He's half Taurus. Ford Taurus.
Oh, well. Thank you, everyone, for watching The Broken Dead.
Yes, yes. Thanks.
You can always, go to the website. It is www.broken.picturesno.com. That is weird how you do this so much.
I was going to let you try it on, man.
You can follow us on Facebook @Broken Pictures Social, Instagram and Twitter @Broken_social. Go sprinkle some change on us at Patreon @Broken Pictures. We would really appreciate anything y'all want to do for us, but the thing we appreciate the most, if you like, share, and subscribe, repost, and all that good stuff too.
Yep. Let your friends know about us.
Please.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we got to go. Thanks for staying the entire time. This was so much to go through, and we're glad that you went through it with us. So, peace out.
Bye.
Oh, this is Dylan.
I'm Quin.
Peace.
Bye.
See you next time.
See ya.